Everything that's great and inspiring is created by the individual who can labor in freedom. Albert Einstein. But what happens when two visions of greatness collide, one burning with dreams of the future, the other grinding in the gears of the present? You stand in a darkened workshop. The air hums with tension. On one side, Nikola Tesla, eyes glowing like they carry the storms of the universe, obsessed with visions that humanity can barely comprehend. On the other, Thomas Edison, shirt rolled up, sweat dripping, sleeves blackened with soot, hammering reality into existence with ruthless persistence. Tesla dreamed of giving you free, limitless energy. Edison wanted to sell you the light bulb you would pay for every single night. Here lies the paradox. Vision without delivery starves. Grind without vision burns. Which would you choose? Tesla whispers of beauty, of cosmic order, of electricity flowing through the earth like blood through veins. Edison snarls back, ideas are nothing. Execution is everything. Both men carried fire, but each fire burned differently. Carl Jung once said, "The greater the contrast, the deeper the potential." Tesla and Edison were not simply inventors, they were archetypes of two eternal forces within you. The dreamer and the doer. You've felt it before. That war inside your chest. The idea that flashes in your mind at night, so brilliant you can't sleep. Then the crushing weight in the morning, the grind, the practicality, the question of how you'll ever build it, sell it, ship it. Tesla lost fortunes chasing visions too grand to hold. Edison gained fortunes grinding through endless experiments, even if his methods sometimes crushed men beneath them. You must ask yourself, when do you dream, and when do you execute? When do you dare to wait for perfection, and when do you ship before you shatter? This tension is not just history. It's your story. It's the battle in every project, every ambition, every piece of art, every business, every invention. Tesla's obsession versus Edison's execution. Both are lungs. Cut off one, and the project suffocates. Nietzsche reminds you, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Tesla had his why but struggled with the how. Edison had his how but often hollowed out the why. And you are left to balance the two. The world worships execution because it pays bills. But history remembers vision because it bends time. Which side will you serve? The vision that starves if it never breathes? Or the grind that burns if it never looks up at the stars? You stand at this crossroads with Tesla and Edison staring through you like two gods demanding loyalty. Tesla's storm. Edison's hammer. The promise of Legend's legacy is simple, to walk you into these timeless battles, not as a spectator, but as a participant. Because until you decide how to balance these forces in your own life, you will remain trapped between dream and delivery, obsession and execution. Stay with this story to the end. What you hear will not just be about the war of currents. It will be about the war in your mind, the war in your soul, the war that will decide whether your ideas live or die. And so I leave you with the first great question. Do you dare to dream like Tesla, even if it shatters you? Or will you grind like Edison, even if it hardens you? The problem is not Tesla. The problem is not Edison. The problem is the shadow inside you that cannot reconcile them. Why? Because obsession blinds you, and execution chains you. Dark psychology whispers, every strength, when left unchecked, mutates into a weakness. Tesla's visions became prisons. Edison's grind became cruelty. You carry both seeds within your own mind. Sigmund Freud once warned, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Tesla buried practicality. It rose back as poverty, ridicule, and isolation. Edison buried imagination. It returned as exploitation, lawsuits, and a hollow kind of fame. You know this tension. The perfectionist inside you waits, and waits, polishing an idea until it suffocates under its own weight. Meanwhile, the pragmatist inside you rushes ahead, churning work out just to tick the box, leaving no soul inside it. Psychology names this cognitive dissonance, that burning discomfort when two opposing truths pull you apart. Philosophy calls it the tragic split, the war between Apollo and Dionysus, between form and chaos, between restraint and eruption. Tesla was Dionysus, wild, intoxicating, lost in ecstasy, dreaming towers that could light the whole world for free. Edison was Apollo, order, discipline, calculation, hammering each filament into submission until the light bulb stayed lit. But here is the hidden trap: your culture rewards one and punishes the other. Society applauds Edison's grind because it fits into industry, money, progress. Investors want results. Consumers want products. Markets worship execution. Tesla's obsession? It terrifies. It unsettles. It risks too much. Friedrich Nietzsche warns, insanity in individuals is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. Tesla's visions looked insane to groups. Edison's grind looked normal. Yet history now whispers, maybe Tesla wasn't insane at all. Machiavelli once declared, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." Edison honored the title of inventor by delivering results. Tesla dishonored it, at least in the eyes of financiers, by chasing storms no one could bottle. But if you look deeper, you see the psychological wound. Tesla feared mediocrity so much, he isolated himself into oblivion. Edison feared irrelevance so much, he worked himself and others into exhaustion. Both were running from shadows, not just running toward light. Schopenhauer whispers from the dark, "Talent hits a target no one else can hit. Genius hits a target no one else can see." Tesla saw targets no one else could see. But what happens when no one is ready for the arrow? Edison, meanwhile, hit targets everyone else had been aiming at, but he hit them first. And so the psychological roots are revealed. Vision without delivery breeds despair. Execution without vision breeds emptiness. This is the hidden problem that haunts you. You dream, but you fear execution. You execute, but you fear irrelevance. You look at Tesla and Edison not as museum relics, but as mirrors. Because in your own life, obsession and execution are not just philosophies, they are survival mechanisms. You must obsess enough to see what others cannot. You must execute enough to make them believe. Yet, like Tesla and Edison, you may fall into imbalance. One path starves, the other burns. And so the deeper question emerges: what happens to a society when obsession and execution become divorced? When dreamers starve in obscurity and executors hollow themselves in profit? What happens when the lungs of creation breathe out of rhythm? This is the disease we now inherit. A world where Teslas die forgotten in hotel rooms. A world where Edisons dominate, but at the cost of souls. And now you must face the shadow truth. You are not outside this story. You are living in it. The danger is not just in Tesla. The danger is not just in Edison. The danger is in what happens when their imbalance infects you, and then spreads into society. You think it's history. But it's not. It's your present. Your culture. Your psychology. Look closer. When you live only like Tesla, obsessing, dreaming, waiting for the perfect strike, you drown in visions that never leave your skull. Your notebooks fill. Your nights grow restless. Your projects remain unborn. And slowly, despair creeps in. When you live only like Edison, executing, grinding, shipping endlessly, you become efficient but empty. Every task completed feels hollow. You tick the boxes but never look at the stars. You live a life of motion without meaning. This is not abstract. This is happening to you now. Neurology shows it. Your brain is wired with a dopamine system that rewards action, completion, and novelty. Execution triggers this system. But unchecked, it becomes addiction. Busy work. Endless scrolling. An empty high that leaves you burnout. Meanwhile, vision lights up the default mode network, the wandering system of imagination, creativity, daydream. This is where Tesla lived. But unchecked, it breeds fantasy loops. You keep imagining but never moving. You chase dopamine in the mind instead of the world. History reveals this pattern repeating like a curse. Ancient Greece birthed philosophers who dreamed of perfect forms, Plato's world of ideals. But Athens collapsed under its own visions, defeated by harder, grittier Spartans. Medieval Europe drowned in visions of paradise and salvation, while plagues and wars devoured the earth. Execution vanished, society crumbled. On the other side, the Industrial Revolution worshipped execution. Factories churned. Workers became machines. Imagination was stripped away, until revolt came, not just from workers, but from the human spirit itself. Do you see the rhythm? Society starves when only Tesla rules. Society burns when only Edison reigns. And yet here you are, living in a culture that pretends to admire vision while secretly worshipping execution. Schools don't teach you to dream. They teach you to perform, to pass, to deliver, to obey deadlines. Workplaces don't reward obsession with higher truths. They reward those who hit quarterly goals, even if the vision collapses tomorrow. This is the unseen consequence. You are trained to grind, but never to dream. You are punished for obsessing, but rewarded for executing. And in the process, half your humanity withers away. Viktor Frankl once said, "When a man cannot find meaning, he distracts himself with pleasure." Execution without vision does exactly this. You stay busy. You stay productive. But deep down, you are starving for meaning. And when vision is lost, society begins to rot. Art decays into entertainment. Science decays into profit. Politics decays into manipulation. Humanity becomes a factory, producing endlessly yet never asking, "For what?" But beware, the opposite consequence lurks too. Obsess too deeply in visions, and you detach from reality itself. You become the hermit, the mad scientist, the starving artist. Your truth may be profound, but it arrives too late for the world to listen. So here is the cruel truth: you are not simply outside, watching Tesla and Edison like actors in history's play. You are inside the play. Every choice you make, every project you begin, every dream you kill, every task you complete without meaning, writes the script of your own war of currents. And until you awaken, the current will sweep you where it wants, either into starvation or into burnout. But there is another path. A rebellion. A way to balance both lungs. A way to breathe again. The war inside you cannot be won by choosing Tesla or Edison. It can only be won by refusing the false choice. The rebellion begins here, not obsession alone, not execution alone, but the marriage of both. History shows us the outlaws who dared to do this. Leonardo da Vinci, visionary painter, sculptor, engineer, scientist. He dreamed like Tesla but sketched relentlessly, filling pages with inventions, notes, experiments. Obsession and execution fused in his hands. Steve Jobs, an artist at heart who demanded perfection, but also a ruthless executor who shipped products that reshaped entire industries. Vision in one lung, delivery in the other. These rebels prove the balance is not impossible. It is brutal, yes, but not impossible. How? First, you must face your bias. Are you naturally more Tesla? Lost in thought, intoxicated by visions, unable to finish? Or are you more Edison? Obsessed with output, grinding endlessly, terrified of stopping long enough to ask, "Why am I doing this?" Awareness is the first rebellion. Because psychology reveals, what you do not name controls you. Once you name it, you can wield it. Second, you must weaponize time. Tesla drowned because he never set limits. Edison thrived because he did. Your rebellion begins when you say, "I will dream, but only until this hour. Then I execute." Or "I will execute, but only after my vision is clear." Nietzsche commands you, "Become who you are." This is not passive. This is war. Discipline of the mind. Discipline of the schedule. Third, steal from dark psychology. Edison mastered manipulation, publicity stunts, ruthless business tactics, psychological warfare against rivals. You need not copy his cruelty, But you must study his strategy. Because the world does not reward purity. The world rewards strategy. Tesla was pure. Edison was strategic. The rebel is both, visionary enough to inspire, strategic enough to deliver. Fourth, build systems, not just bursts. Your brain thrives on habit. Neuroscience calls it automaticity, repeated actions carved into neural pathways until they run like rivers. If you are Tesla-like, build habits of finishing. If you are Edison-like, build habits of reflecting. Habit is rebellion against chaos. And finally, remember meaning. Viktor Frankl, who survived the camps of Auschwitz, told us, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Tesla's tragedy was that his why became so large he lost the how. Edison's tragedy was that his how became so consuming he lost the why. Your rebellion must be both lungs breathing in unison, a why that burns, and a how that delivers. Rebellion is not easy. Society will push you back into one role. Bosses will demand you execute. Dreamers will tempt you to float away. But you must resist. Because the future belongs not to dreamers alone, nor doers alone. The future belongs to those who breathe with both lungs. So here is the call. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop grinding without vision. Stop starving your ideas. Stop burning your soul. Your rebellion begins when you say, "I will dream. I will do. I will fuse Tesla's lightning with Edison's hammer. And I will not apologize for needing both." And when you walk this path, you will discover something greater than obsession or execution. You will discover a truth that changes not only how you create, but how you live. The greatest truth is not Tesla. The greatest truth is not Edison. The greatest truth is what happens when you stop worshipping them as opposites, and realize they are two halves of the same breath. Your mind craves the storm of vision. Your hands crave the grind of execution. One without the other is suffocation. Tesla teaches you the beauty of obsession. But obsession without grounding becomes delusion. Edison teaches you the power of execution. But execution without vision becomes emptiness. The ultimate realization is this: you are both. You are not doomed to choose. You are not condemned to live split. The lungs of creation are inside you, waiting to be trained to breathe together. Look back at history's greatest works. The Parthenon. The Sistine Chapel. The theory of relativity. The iPhone in your pocket. Not one of them was born from obsession alone. Not one of them was born from execution alone. Each demanded the union, dreams forged into stone, into paint, into equations, into circuits. The truth is also terrifying. Because this means you cannot hide. You cannot say, "I am only a visionary." You cannot say, "I am only a worker." The age of excuses dies here. Carl Jung says, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." Tesla reached heaven but forgot to root. Edison rooted deep but forgot to look up. Your task is both, to anchor and to ascend. And when you do, your work will not just exist. It will live. Think of your own projects. The book unwritten. The business unlaunched. The idea abandoned. The routine that suffocates. These are not failures of talent. These are failures of balance. Tesla versus Edison is not a war outside you. It is a mirror. It is the eternal current flowing through your veins. So the ultimate truth is not about choosing who is right. The ultimate truth is learning to breathe with both lungs. To let vision ignite you. To let execution ground you. To let them dance until something larger than either is born. When you grasp this, you are no longer trapped in the tragedy of Tesla. You are no longer trapped in the machinery of Edison. You become something greater, the rebel who unites what history split apart. And now, as this story closes, two voices remain. Tesla's ghost whispers, "The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine." Edison's ghost counters, "Vision without execution is hallucination." Two truths. Two wounds. Two powers. And you, standing in the silence between them, must decide. Do you dare to let Tesla's storm fill your chest, while Edison's hammer anchors your hand? Do you dare to breathe fully, not half a life, but the whole of it? This is the legacy of legends. Not the man who dreamed, not the man who executed, but the man or woman who became both. The war is not theirs anymore. It is yours. If this story has struck something deep in you, share your thoughts below. Which path do you feel drawn to, Tesla's storm or Edison's hammer? Or will you dare to claim both? Subscribe to Legends Legacy and join us in unraveling more of history's most dangerous debates. Because every legend is a mirror, and every legacy is a choice.